lamig na kulungan. Umupo sa tabi niya, isang oras ang bilang. Sinubukan kong ilahad ang ebidensya, ngunit tila pagod na siyang sundan ang bawat salita. Ipinakita ko ang ilang bahagi ng pagdinig, mga paliwanag ng taga-usig at hukom na nakikinig, pati ang sarili kong mga panimulang pahayag. Ngunit marahan siyang umiling, sapat na raw ang lahat. Sinasabi nilang may mabibigat na paratang, bulong ko sa kanya sa gitna ng katahimikan. Iniuugnay kanila sa napakaraming buhay noong ikaw ay alkalde at nanguna sa bayan. Paulit-ulit ang tanong niyang marahan, paano nila sinasabing ako'y may pananagutan? Sa harap ng paratang at mahabang paglilitis, sa gitna ng batas at teknikal na usapin, isang tao ang nakaupo sa likod ng mga rehas, nagtatanong kung saan nagsimula ang lahat, kung salita ba'y naging sandata, kung area ba'y naging tulay sa pagitan ng alegasyon at katotohanan. May linyang pilit hinahanap. Ipinaliwanag ko ang mga konseptong malalim, mga terminong bihira sa karaniwang pandinig, mga paraang teknikal upang magugnay sa pagitan ng posisyon at mga pangyayari. Binanggit ko ang mga testigong nakikipagtulungan, may kapalit na proteksyon at bagong pangalan na sa ngalan ng kanilang pagsisisi ay maaaring hindi na humarap sa pananagutan. Napahiling siya, tila nagtataka, ganyan ba ang hustisya?
Senator Pia.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for the privilege of serving this nation. As we open today's session, we lift up to you every Filipino family in their hopes and in their struggles. We also place in your hands all those affected by the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, especially our fellow Filipinos. Grant them safety in the midst of uncertainty, comfort their loved ones here at home, and guide nations towards peace. We especially remember Mary Ann Velasquez de Vera, a Filipina caregiver who lost her life in the recent airstrike in Israel. Grant her eternal rest and bring comfort to her family in their time of grief. We also mark the beginning of Women's Month. We are grateful for the women of our nation who lead, who nurture, and who have shaped this country in ways that are not always fully recognized. We pray for a Philippines that truly values women, not just in words, but in law, opportunity, and everyday life. And we are equally grateful for the men who stand beside us, believe in the greatness of women, and who have used their voices and their influence to push for equality and partnership. We pray for the kind of genuine gender partnership that builds stronger communities and a stronger nation. We ask for your guidance upon every legislator and every public servant in this country. Let every decision we make reflect not just our judgment, but in this session, may your presence guide every word spoken, every decision made in the chamber. May we all be public servants our nation can be proud of. In the name of our Lord, amen.
Amen. The good Christian ensemble will lead us in the singing of the Philippine national anthem, and the group will also render a song entitled Isang Mundo, Isang Awit.
Ayang matiliw, pero sa silanganan, anak ng puso, sa tibig mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, ulit ka ng matitig, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisigit, sa nagtatandang sa sila. Sa langit mong bakaw, magulat ang pagkakatawid, paglayang minamahal, sa na nakikinig, pagpali magdidinig, lupa ng araw-araw at ipasitaw, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming likaya naman ay marami, ang mamatay na dahil sa'yo. Pag-ibig sa kapwa-tao, sana'y pinaman ituro. Kung bawat puso ay marunong magmahal, kapayapaan, kasiyahan, tiyak na makakambal. Lahat tayo'y pantay-pantay, sa biyaya ng may kapal. Lahat sana'y akbay-akbay, hanggang tumulong taningan. Bawat tao ay marunong magmahal, anumang kulay sa salita ng makikisa. Je t'aime, te amo, I love you. Watashi wa anata wa shitemasu. This living is inibig kita, I need. Paano man sabihin, ang mundo'y turuan natin. Tanging lunas ay pag-ibig. Je t'aime, te amo, I love you. Watashi wa anata wa shitemasu. This living is inibig kita, I need. Paano man sabihin, ang mundo'y turuan natin. Tanging lunas ay pag-ibig, pag-ibig. Je t'aime, te amo, I love you. This living is inibig kita, I need. Paano masabihin, ang mundo'y turuan natin. Tanging lunas ay pag-ibig, 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 pag-ibig. Isang mundo, isang awit, isang sigaw. Pag-ibig, pag-ibig.
The Secretary will please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Hontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camil, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Subiri. The Senate President is present.
With 20 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Jory TV there.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have a number of guests with us today in the gallery, headed by a dear friend of ours. He's the guest of Senator Pangilinan. No other than Congressman Boy Umali of the 2nd District of Oriental Mindoro is here with us today. And we also have with us local officials from the municipality of Katigbian, Bohol, led by our good friend Mayor Benji Oliva. And also we have Vice Mayor Roberto Lagrosas of Manticao, Misamis Oriental, Mr. President. We also have local officials from Barangay Santo Tomas, Laguna. We also have principals and teachers from DepEd, Borongan, Eastern Samar that are here with us. We also have some members of the delegation of the 33rd Southeast Asian Games. We have the women's beach volleyball team and the Philippine boxing team here with us today, Mr. President. We have also, these are guests of Senator Joel Villanueva, who is also sponsoring them for a sumptuous dinner later. And sponsor na pala. Mr. President, students from St. James Academy of Malabon, led by Miss Jennery Francisco and Miss Mikey Apo is here. Guests from Pampanga Business Circle and local officials from Initao, Misamis Oriental, and Nawaan, Misamis Oriental, Mr. President.
All right, we welcome the guests.
Nawaan.
We welcome the guests to the Senate this afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
We also have with us, Mr. President, Acting Mayor Marcos June Castro of Mabalacat, Pampanga, with us today.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the journal of the 49th session Wednesday, February 25, 2026, and consider the same as approved.
Any objections? Hearing none, the journal is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed with the reference of business.
Secretary will proceed with the reference of business.
My apologies, Mr. President, so that we can hasten the proceedings. I move to withdraw my motion so that we can proceed already with third reading matters.
Oh, yes. More importantly, the third reading for today. So, what is this? What is this treaty?
I forgot. Yes, Mr. President, I forgot the text message of Attorney Mavic Garcia last night. Naunahin namin yun. Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading proposed Senate Resolution number 315. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. The proposed Senate Resolution 315 is to be considered on third reading. The Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
Resolution number 315, resolution concurring in the ratification of treaty between the government of the Republic of the Philippines, the government of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, the transfer of sentenced persons. Roll call vote. Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Hontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camil, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Subiri, Senate President Soto.
Affirmative. With 20 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, Senate Resolution 315 is approved on third reading.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And Mr. President, for the record, all three bills that we'll approve on third reading today, copies have been distributed to our senators on February 25, 2026, in compliance with the 3-day rule of the Constitution. Just for the record, Mr. President.
All right.
Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading Senate Bill number 1508. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of the measure on third reading is in order. The Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
Senate Bill number 1508, an act authorizing the Department of Health to set and approve the bed capacity and service capability of all DOH hospitals. Roll call of members. Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Hontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camil, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Subiri,
Yes.
Senate President Soto III.
Affirmative. With 20 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, Senate Bill 1508 is approved on third reading.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Congratulations to the sponsors of the two measures. Next, Mr. President, I move that we approve on third reading Senate Bill number 1823. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of 1823 for third reading is in order. The Secretary will read the title of the measure and conduct a roll call vote.
Senate Bill number 1823, an act resetting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, amending for the purpose of Section 13, Article 16 of Public Act number 11054 as amended, otherwise known as the Organic Law for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Roll call of members. Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Hontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Ligarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camil, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Subiri,
Yes.
Senate President Soto III.
Yes. With 21 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, Senate Bill 1823 is approved on third reading.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to also thank our dear colleagues for supporting this measure. It's one step forward to achieving peace and in the Bangsamoro region. Mr. President, a lot of our members wish to give an explanation of their vote. May we recognize Senator Joel Villanueva, Mr. President, for the three
Senator-
measures there.
Senator Joel Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, Majority Leader. Mr. President, may I just explain briefly my explanation of vote on Senate Bill number 1823, Mr. President? We express our full support for the approval of the said measure, an act resetting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, amending for the purpose Section 13, Article 16 of Republic Act number 11054, otherwise known as the Organic Law for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. We would likewise commend the sponsor of this measure, our hardworking Majority Leader, Senator Mig Zubiri, for his steadfast leadership and commitment in advancing this very important reform, Mr. President. Ginoong Pangulo, tayo po ay sumusuporta sa isang prosesong sisiguraduhin na ang bawat boto ay tunay na mabibigyang halaga. Naniniwala din po tayo na ang demokrasya ay pinakamatatag kung ang mga pundasyon nito ay matibay at maayos na itatatag. Mr. President, democracy demands preparation. It requires clarity in representation and institutions that are fully equipped to carry out the will of the people. This measure is not about delaying democracy, rather it is about strengthening it. Let us view this reset as a commitment to genuine democracy, one where the people of BARM are able to participate fully, fairly, and confidently in choosing their leaders. Again, Mr. President, we vote yes to this measure. And Mr. President, on the other measure that we voted upon, Senate Bill number 1508, or DOH Hospital Bed Capacity and Service Capability Rationalization Act, we extend our gratitude to our good sponsor, the chairperson of the Committee on Health and Demography, Senator Risa Ontiveros, for ensuring the smooth passage of this timely and much needed measure. By authorizing DOH to determine, set, adjust, and approve the authorized bed capacities and corresponding service capabilities of hospitals under its supervision and control, we take a decisive step toward rationalizing our health system, meaningfully address persistent overcrowding, and strengthen the delivery of quality health services nationwide. Again, Mr. President, we vote yes on this particular measure, and may God bless us all. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Majority
next
Leader.
to explain their explanation of, give their explanation of vote is nobody else. No one, our distinguished colleague, Mr. President, no one, our distinguished colleague, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Mr. President.
Senator Robin Padilla is recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo at sa ating pinunong mayorya. Ang una pong pagpapaliwanag ay kaugnay po sa Senate Bill number 315, Senate Resolution 315, na ang akin pong mungkahi, Ginoong Pangulo, kaugnay po ito. Hinggil po sa paglilipat ng mga nahatulang bilanggo na aking kino-sponsor kahapon. Ako po ay bumoto ng yes with reservation. Ang aking reservasyon po ay dulot ng isang mungkahi para sa mas maingat at makatarungang pagpapatupad nito. Nauunawaan ko po na masusi ng napagdiskusyonan ang mga detalye ng kasunduan. At batid ko din po na bago magkaroon ng transfer, kinakailangan muna ng pahintulot o consent ng ililipat na bilanggo ng sentencing state o administering state. Kaugnay nito, nais kong imungkahi sa Department of Justice na sa mga pagkakataon ang nahatulang individual ay napatunayang nagkasala ng karumal-dumal o heinous crime, marapat ay pagdusahan muna niya ang kanyang sentensya ng ilang taon sa bansang nagpataw bago siya pahintulutang mailipat sa administering state. Ito po ay bunga ng aking karanasan sa Muntinlupa, sa Bilibid Prison, dahil marami po doon ng mga foreigner at meron din pong British doon na nakulong dati na pinatay niya yung kanyang kasintahan. At siya po ay nahatulan na makulong ng reclusion perpetua. Sana po ay bago siya pahintulutang mailipat doon sa kanyang bansa ay pagdusahan muna niya yung kanyang krimen doon sa minimum sentence. Huwag naman po kaagad na padadala doon. Alam naman po natin na masyadong ang kanilang kulungan doon sa bansang iyon ay masyadong komportable. Dahil Pilipina po, yung mga ganitong heinous crime, sana magdusa dito. At ganun din po, payag naman akong mailipat doon eh. Yung mga crime ay tinatawag namin sa loob na murder. Kung mga murder lang ang kaso, ibig sabihin yung umorder lang ng umorder, hindi nagbayad, pwede na ho yun ipadala doon. Sa ganitong paraan, ay mabibigyang diin ang paggalang ng soberenya ng sentencing state. Sa bigat ng krimeng ginawa at sa katarungang inaasahan ng mga biktima at ng kanilang mga pamilya. Kasabay nito, nananatiling bukas ang pinto para sa makataong konsiderasyon at rehabilitasyon sa ilalim ng administering state sa tamang panahon. Maraming salamat po. At ang pangalawang pagpapaliwanag po ay patungkol naman po sa Bangsamoro. Sa pagpapaliban at sa ngayon po ay itakda na ang botohan, ang eleksyon sa BARM. Ito po ay aking pong pinasasalamatan ang aming godfather, ang ating pong majority floor leader, Senator Mig Subiri, sapagkat alam niyo po, kami po ay hanga sa kanya, ang kamusliman, ang inyong Bangsamoro ay hanga po sa kanya, bagamat hindi po siya isang Muslim, pero ang kanyang pagmamahal sa amin ay sobra-sobra po. At nung huli po niyang hearing ay nakita namin kung paano niya ipinaglaban na magkaroon po ng mga future leader sa Bangsamoro na hindi tradisyonal. Yung galing naman po talaga doon sa mga matatawag natin na galing po sa mga common na tao na mamuno. Kaya po tanggapin niyo po ang aming pasasalamat, Senator Mig Subiri, Kami po'y buong puso na nagpapasalamat sa pakikipaglaban niyo po para sa BARM. Mabuhay po kayo.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Maraming salamat din po kay Senator Joel Villanueva and of course, Senator Robin Hood Padilla. Aming adopted son ng Mindanao po yan, si Senator Robin Hood Padilla. And hopefully, may pasa din po itong panukala na to sa Kongreso ng third reading and may sabatas na po para kampante po ang ating mga kababayan sa BARM na magkakaroon na po ng halalan. Hindi na po ma-postpone at hindi na po mapagsamantala ang kanilang sitwasyon doon sa BARM. So thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, we have two groups. Of course, winners in the last Southeast Asian Games that we have approved already as resolutions. May I just ask for the indulgence of the body to suspend session so that we can allow them to receive also their copies of the resolutions that we had approved last month, Mr. President. So with that, I move to suspend session for just a minute.
All right, yes, hearing no objection, the session is suspended.
Isang kagubatan ng mga bulaklak sa loob ng kulungan at sa mismong hukuman. Napakaraming card na binasa ng pamilya. Dalawang sako ang kinailangan upang maipon. Napakaraming palumpon ng pag-alala na kinailangang ilayo ng isang sasakyan. Ang ilang bulaklak ay inilagay sa paligid ng gusali. Kaaya-aya sa paningin ng sinumang mapapadaan. Ngunit nang malaman ng pinanggalingan, iniwasan at pinabayaan na lamang hanggang sa sila'y nalanta sa mga pasilyo. At ang halimuyak ay napalitan ng amoy ng paglipas. At sa gitna ng lahat ng iyon, ipinakita namin ng mga larawan ng kanyang pamilya. Mga retrato ng anak na patuloy sumusulat, mga alaala ng kabataan sa Davao. Sa bawat ngiti ng anak at apo, unti-unting luminaw ang kanyang mukha. Sa pagitan ng batas at alaala, doon muling sumilay ang saya. Ginawa ko ang aking tungkulin, mahinahon niyang sambit. Iniwan ko ang aking pamana, ikaw na ang bahala sa iyong gawain. Hindi ko na maalala ang marami, hindi ko kilala ang ilan sa kanila. At ang mga bilang na binabanggit nila ay tila malayo sa aking gunita. Sa harap ng mga hukom at ng ebidensya, hindi sigaw ang dapat manaig, kundi ang malinaw na batayan at lohika ng batas na umiiral. Kung may sapat na ugnayan, hayaan ang proseso ang humatol. Ngunit kung kulang ang patunay, huwag hayaang paratang ang manaig. At sa huli isang hiling lamang, hindi kapangyarihan, hindi trono, kundi payapang pag-uwi sa tahanan at tahimik na pagtatapos ng yugto. ako sa malamig na kulungan. Umupo sa tabi niya, isang oras ang bilang. Sinubukan kong ilahad ang ebidensya, ngunit tila pagod na siyang sundan ang bawat salita. Ipinakita ko ang ilang bahagi ng pagdinig, mga paliwanag ng taga-usig at hukom na nakikinig, pati ang sarili kong mga panimulang pahayag. Ngunit marahan siyang umiling, sapat na raw ang lahat. Sinasabi nilang may mabibigat na paratang, bulong ko sa kanya sa gitna ng katahimikan. Iniuugnay kanila sa napakaraming buhay noong ikaw ay alkalde at nanguna sa bayan. Paulit-ulit ang tanong niyang marahan, paano nila sinasabing ako'y may pananagutan? Sa harap ng paratang at mahabang paglilitis, sa gitna ng batas at teknikal na usapin, isang tao ang nakaupo sa likod ng mga rehas, nagtatanong kung saan nagsimula ang lahat, kung salita ba'y naging sandata, kung area ba'y naging tulay sa pagitan ng alegasyon at katotohanan. May linyang pilit hinahanap. Ipinaliwanag ko ang mga konseptong malalim, mga terminong bihira sa karaniwang pandinig, mga paraang teknikal upang magugnay sa pagitan ng posisyon at mga pangyayari. Binanggit ko ang mga testigong nakikipagtulungan, may kapalit na proteksyon at bagong pangalan na sa ngalan ng kanilang pagsisisi ay maaaring hindi na humarap sa pananagutan. Napailing siya, tila nagtataka, ganyan ba ang hustisya? Marahang wika. Naalala namin ang bundok ng malaliham, mga pagbati at kad na dumating sa kanyang kaarawan, isang kagubatan ng mga bulaklak sa loob ng kulungan at sa mismong hukuman. Napakaraming card na binasa ng pamilya, dalawang sako ang kinailangan upang maipon. Napakaraming palumpon ng pag-alala na kinailangang ilayo ng isang sasakyan. Ang ilang bulaklak ay inilagay sa paligid ng gusali, kaaya-aya sa paningin ng sinumang mapapadaan. Ngunit nang malaman ng pinanggalingan, iniwasan at pinabayaan na lamang hanggang sa sila'y nalanta sa mga pasilyo. At ang halimuyak ay napalitan ng amoy ng paglipas. At sa gitna ng lahat ng iyon, ipinakita namin ng mga larawan ng kanyang pamilya. Mga retrato ng anak na patuloy sumusulat, mga alaala ng kabataan sa Davao. Sa bawat
Po natin, Ginoong Pangulo, yung isa sa mga naghakot ng pinakamaraming medalya para sa Pilipinas. Nag-uwi po sila ng kabuuang 10 medalya. Gold kay Yumir Marshall, 3 silver kay J. Brian Baricuatro, Flint Hara at Ira Villegas. At yung 6 na bronze po, nandito po si Ashley Fajardo, John Mindoro, Ofelia Magno, Riza Pasuit, Nesty Petesio at Hergy Bakyadan. At yung pong women's beach volleyball naman natin, Ginoong Pangulo, the Philippines victory was made possible by the formidable team of Bernadette Pons, Dij Rodriguez, Sunny Villapando, and of course Cici Rondina and Henesa S. Lapor. They ended, Mr. President, yung Thailand's 22-year reign and 8-time champion streak. Kaya we congratulate them and we thank our colleagues, especially our Senate President, for commending the efforts of our valiant athletes. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo.
Of course, thank you. Thank you, Senator Villanueva. Majority Leader?
Mr. President, may we recognize our distinguished colleague, Senator Erwin Tulfo, for a brief manifestation.
Yes, Senator Erwin Tulfo is recognized.
Just a quick manifestation, Mr. President. I'd like to thank my colleagues in supporting the concurrence of the Treaty on the Transfer of Sentenced Persons between the Philippines and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland under Committee Report number 30, proposed resolution number 315. This treaty will allow Filipinos convicted of crimes in the UK to serve their remaining sentence in the Philippines and will facilitate their effective rehabilitation as they will be close to their families and friends and be with other inmates with whom they share the same language and culture. We will continue championing for treaties that will benefit our kababayans, Mr. President. Again, I express my gratitude to my colleagues in supporting this treaty. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Majority Floor Leader.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to... Oh, 1 second, Mr. President. Are you ready? I move that we take up bills for amendments. Mr. President, I move that we consider Senate Bill number 1822 under Committee Report number 28. I so move, Mr. President.
Not that I want it approved, but are you moving for the reference of business for later? I don't mind.
Well, we can make the secretary work a bit today, Mr. President. So I withdraw my motion and I move for the reference of business, Mr. President.
Okay, so that we can proceed with the agenda. All right, the reference of business, the secretary will proceed.
PS on first reading. Senate Bill number 1909, anak promoting citizen-based crowdfunding for election campaigns and strengthening democratic campaign finance by Senator Aquino.
Referred to the Committee on Electoral Reforms.
1911, anak providing for comprehensive nursing law towards a quality healthcare system and promoting funds for a reading for a purpose of paragraph number 9170, otherwise known as the Philippine Nurse Act of 2002 by Senator De La Rosa.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Health, and Finance.
1912, anak strengthening Philippine disaster risk financing, utilizing Philippine disaster risk financing and insurance strategy for public infrastructure assets and operating funds by Senator Subiri.
To the Committees on Finance, Public Works, and Ways and Means.
1913, anak establishing a presidential merit scholarship program, providing funds for and further purposes by Senator Subiri.
To the Committees on Higher Education and Finance.
1914, anak providing for a Magna Carta for Information and Communication Technology professionals in government by Senator Villanueva.
To the Committees on Civil Service, Science and Technology, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1915, anak rationalizing the benefits for the chairperson, commissioners, and labor arbiters of the National Labor Relations Commission, amending for the purpose of Decree number 442 for the Labor Code of Philippines as amended, and paragraph number 910 as amended by Senator Villanueva, Villar M.
To the Committee on Labor and Finance.
1916, anak reducing the rate of value-added tax from 12% to 10%, amending for the purpose sections 106, 107, and 108, the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended by Senator Villar M.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
1918, anak amending the public number 11900, entitled anak regulating the importation, manufacture, sale, packaging, distribution, use, and communication on vaporized nicotine and non-nicotine products and novel tobacco products by Senator Padilla.
Referred to the Committees on Health and Trade.
Committee reports. Committee report number 37, prepared and submitted by the Committee on Migrant Workers on Senate Bill number 1910 by Senators Tulfo R., De La Rosa, Legarda, Estrada, Villar M., Tulfo E., and Villanueva as authors for titled, "And not providing for free financial education to overseas Filipino workers and their families." Recommended approval is citation of Senate Bill number 90, 208, 806, 848, and 1270 by Senator Tulfo R.
To the calendar for ordinary business.
Committee report number 38, prepared and submitted jointly by the Committees on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies, Migrant Workers, and Ways and Means on Senate Bill number 1917 with Senators Villar C., Estrada, Tulfo R., and Villanueva as authors therefore titled, "And not providing for protection of the remittances of overseas Filipino workers." The major approval is substitution numbers 181, 1074, and 1439 by Senator Villanueva.
To the calendar for ordinary business. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, we just like to also recognize a guest of Senator Padilla in the gallery, Councilor Dr. Ted Padilla Evangelista of Kinapawan City, Mr. President.
Okay,
Mr. President,
welcome.
thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I move to resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1822 under Committee Report number 28. This is the bill on the National Plan of Action for Care, Support, and Inclusion of Persons with Autism and Spectrum Disorder. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of 1822 is in order.
Mr. President, to sponsor the measure, the sponsor rather may recognize Senator Risa Ontiveros and to propose amendments, Senator Win Gatchalian. If Senator Win is not here,
So the parliamentary status is that we're in the period
Period
of
of amendments, Mr.
amendments. All right.
and I believe
Senator.
some of our colleagues who proposed to amend have already the list given to Senator Risa. So let's just recognize Senator Ontiveros, Mr. President.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, just briefly bago ko po ihain yung mga panukalang amyenda. The amendments before us today refine and strengthen Senate Bill number 1822, the National Autism Care, Support, and Inclusion Act. These proposed changes do not alter the heart of the measure. They deepen it. We align the bill with the Sustainable Development Goals to ensure that our commitments to persons with autism is not only compassionate, but sustainable and measurable. We modernize definitions to reflect both science and dignity, recognizing neurodiversity, universal design, and the right of individuals on the autism spectrum to self-identify without hierarchy or stigma. We strengthen the National Plan of Action by requiring measurable targets, baseline service packages, geographic equity, and annual reporting to Congress, because inclusion must be accountable. We institutionalize coordination, not only among agencies, but with researchers, professional organizations, civil society, autism self-advocates, and families, ensuring that policymaking is evidence-based and participatory. We reinforce our health system by addressing workforce gaps, expanding PhilHealth coverage, integrating gender-responsive diagnostics, and establishing integrated referral networks. And we strengthen inclusion in education, employment, and community life through concrete mechanisms, not merely aspirational language. Mr. President, I would also like to sincerely thank Senators Pia Cayetano, Sherwin Gatchalian, Joel Villanueva, and Lauren Legarda for their thoughtful and substantive amendments, which have enriched this measure and made it more responsive, more accountable, and more inclusive. Likewise, we recognize the invaluable insights of autism self-advocates, parents groups, professionals, and civil society organizations whose lived experiences and expertise continue to guide us in crafting a law that truly reflects their realities. In sum, these amendments transform the bill from a statement of intent into a structured, measurable, and rights-based national framework. I respectfully submit these amendments for the consideration and support of this chamber. Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, yes, Mr. President.
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. In Section 2, Declaration of Policy, and this is from Senators Joel Villanueva and Pia Cayetano. On page 1, line 9, after the word screening, comma, insert the word diagnosis, comma.
You're amending line 9
Line 9, Mr.
after
President.
screening on line 8.
Sorry, Mr. President. Yes, I stand corrected, Mr. President. After the word screening on line 8.
On line 8, correct.
Yes, Mr. President. Insert the word diagnosis, comma. On the same page and line, after the word timely, insert the phrase and evidence-based. I so move, Mr. President.
Evidence-based. Anyway, any objection? Hearing none, amendments adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 1, still, line 10, after the word families, insert the following. In accordance with the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, for good health, quality education, decent work, and reduced inequalities. These policies, programs, and services shall contribute to sustainable development by building inclusive societies that leave no one behind, ensuring long-term equity, empowerment, and advancement for persons with ASD. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. In Section 3, definition of terms from this representation, on page 2, delete lines 6 to 10 and replace with the following.
6 to 10.
Yes, Mr. President. And replace with the following. A, autism or autism spectrum disorder, ASD, refers to a neurodevelopmental condition characterized by persistent differences in social communication and interaction, and restricted or repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities as recognized in Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM, and the World Health Organization International Classification of Diseases, ICD-11, where autism spectrum disorder is classified under neurodevelopmental disorders. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the amendment is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the same page, line 11, after the abbreviation ASD, insert the following. References in this act to persons with autism spectrum disorder, or autistic persons shall be understood as equivalent and non-hierarchical, and shall not be construed to diminish the dignity, identity, or self-identification of individuals on the autism spectrum. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the same page, between lines 21 and 22, insert a new subsection EF to read as follows. E, neurodivergent refers to individuals whose neurological development or functioning differs from what is typically expected, including but not limited to persons with autism spectrum disorder and other neurodevelopmental conditions recognized in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM, or the World Health Organization International Classification of Diseases, ICD-11, for purposes of determining appropriate supports and reasonable accommodations under this act. I so move, Mr. President.
This forms part of Section 3.
It forms part of Section 3, Mr.
All right.
President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Letter F, universal
Still
design.
on Section 3.
Yes,
Letter F, all right.
also of Section 3, Mr.
Go ahead.
President. Universal design refers to the design of products, environments, programs, and services to be usable by all people to the greatest extent possible, without the need for adaptation or specialized design, consistent with internationally recognized disability frameworks and existing Philippine accessibility laws. Universal design may include sensory inclusive design approaches that accommodate differences in sensory processing, cognition, and regulation, particularly in settings intended for individuals on the autism spectrum. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Still in Section 3, definition of terms. This is from Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. On page 2, line 20, after the words Republic Act number 11650, insert the phrase, or the instituting a policy of inclusion and services for learners with disabilities in support of Inclusive Education Act. I so move, Mr. President.
All right. Yeah, no, the secretariat and I were smiling because it's an anterior amendment, but
Oh,
it's okay.
I
There's
apologize,
no one.
Mr.
No one is
President.
objecting. So any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you for the, I see now the error and the correction. Thank you for the correction,
all right,
Mr.
no problem.
President and dear Secretariat. On the same page, line 21, apologies, also an anterior amendment to the previous. After the word support, insert the phrase, aids and the implementation of the child find system. So that section 3D shall now read as D. Inclusive education refers to the process of addressing and responding to the diversity of needs of all learners by ensuring full participation, presence, and achievement in learning environments, consistent with the Republic Act number 11650, or the Instituting a Policy of Inclusion and Services for Learners with Disabilities in Support of Inclusive Education Act, including the provision of reasonable accommodation and learning support aids and the implementation of the child find system. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. In Section 4, National Plan of Action for Autism Spectrum Disorder, and this is from Senators Joel Villanueva, Lauren Ligarda, and this representation. On page 2, line 25, after the word screening, comma, insert the word diagnosis, comma. On the same page and line, after the word timely, insert the phrase and evidence-based. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 2, line 27, after appropriate social support for persons with ASD and their families, period, insert the following sentence. The plan shall provide for a baseline package of services accessible to persons with ASD and shall likewise provide a framework for needs-based service intensification, guided by objective criteria and rights-based safeguards to ensure equitable prioritization where service capacity is limited. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 2, line 30, after the sentence ending with budgets of relevant government agencies and sectors, period, insert a new paragraph to read as follows. From this representation, facilities, programs, and services established or supported under this act shall be guided by accessibility and universal design principles, consistent with existing disability and accessibility laws, to promote inclusive and usable environments. Further, from Senator Lauren Ligarda, the plan shall include measurable targets and service capacity benchmarks for early detection, screening, diagnosis, and intervention services, including, as applicable, required geographic coverage, referral network standards, and time-bound access indicators such as maximum acceptable waiting periods from screening to assessment and initiation of intervention, with due consideration for geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, GIDAS. The NCDA, in coordination with the DOH and concerned agencies, shall submit an annual implementation report to Congress detailing progress against these targets, service coverage gaps, and proposed corrective measures. I so move, Mr. President.
GIDAS will be in
Geographically
open and close
isolated.
parentheses.
Yes, Mr. President, in
All
close
right. Any
parentheses.
objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. In Section 5, Interagency and Multisectoral Coordination for Planning and Implementation. This is from Senator Pia Cayetano and this representation. On page 3, line 1, after the word with, insert the Department of Health, in parentheses DOH, Department of Education, in parentheses DepEd, Commission on Higher Education, in parentheses CHED, Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, in parentheses TESDA, Department of Labor and Employment, in parentheses DOLE, Civil Service Commission, in parentheses CSC, Department of the Interior and Local Government, in parentheses DILG, Department of Social Welfare and Development, in parentheses DSWD, other. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the same page, line 2, after the abbreviation in parentheses LGUs, add the words and in consultation with relevant. I so move, Mr. President.
That means in consultation with relevant civil society organizations.
Yes, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first paragraph of Section 5 will now read as, the NCDA shall lead in the formulation of the National Plan of Action for Autism Spectrum Disorder in coordination with the Department of Health, DOH, Department of Education, DepEd, Commission on Higher Education, CHED, Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, TESDA, Department of Labor and Employment, DOLE, Civil Service Commission, CSC, Department of Interior and Local Government, DILG, Department of Social Welfare and Development, DSWD, other concerned national government agencies, local government units, LGUs, and in consultation with relevant civil society organizations, autism self-advocates, parents groups, and other stakeholders.
As adopted. All right.
Yes, Mr. President.
You may proceed.
Thank you. In Section 5, interagency and multi-sectoral coordination for planning and implementation. From this representation. On page 3, between lines 3 and 4, insert a new paragraph that reads as follows. The NCDA, in coordination with the DOH, shall strengthen collaboration with academic and research institutions, including the University of the Philippines National Institutes of Health, UPNIH, in parentheses, the Jose R. Reyes Memorial Medical Center, in parentheses JRRMMC, and the National Center for Mental Health, in parentheses NCMH, and professional organizations specializing in neurodevelopmental disorder to support autism research, surveillance, data collection, and evidence-based policymaking. Such collaboration shall include, but not be limited to, the establishment of research partnerships, data sharing mechanisms, and the integration of research findings into the plan. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. In Section 6, early detection, screening, and diagnosis, from Senator Sherwin Gatchalian and this representation. From this representation, on page 3, line 12, after the word protocols, insert comma and the phrase, including approaches that are gender responsive and attentive to sex-based differences in clinical presentation in order to reduce the risk of delayed or misdiagnosis among women and girls. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. From Senator Gatchalian, on the same page, line 14, after the word professionals, insert comma and the word specialists. Section 6 shall now read as Section 6, early detection, screening, and diagnosis. The Department of Health, DOH, shall integrate ASD detection and screening, referral, and diagnostic protocols, including approaches that are gender responsive and attentive to sex-based differences in clinical presentation, in order to reduce the risk of delayed or misdiagnosis among women and girls into primary health care, maternal and child health programs, and other appropriate health services, and shall develop standard clinical guidelines and training programs for healthcare professionals, specialists, and workers. I so move, Mr. President.
Editorial amendment, you
Yes,
you
Mr.
no
President.
longer need the comma after specialists, right? Yes.
Grammarians debate that, Mr. President, but this representation, of
Specialists and
course,
workers.
will submit.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this point, Mr. President, I will cede the floor to Senator Joel Villanueva to read his proposed amendment.
Senator Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you to our dear colleague who's been working double time for this very important measure, Mr. President. Mr. President, before I introduce this amendment in page 3, lines after line 14, Mr. President, may I just put into the records, Mr. President, as we have been talking extensively with the sponsor, with Senators Gatchalian, Senator Pia Cayetano, and the rest of our colleagues here. Mr. President, may we just put into the records of this August Chamber, how many, distinguished sponsor, if we have the numbers, how many development pediatricians do we have in the country? Because I have encountered, Mr. President, in one of the articles that we have got into, Mr. President, that there are only 109 development pediatricians in the country. And as I mentioned earlier, Mr. President, during the course of debates, Mr. President, this representation had experienced extremely difficult experience of looking for development pediatrician. And that's why this particular measure is very personal for this representation, Mr. President. Maybe, Mr. President, if indeed it is correct to say that there are only, and the records will bail me out, and I am ready to be corrected, if there are only 109 development pediatricians in the country. Because in my experience, Mr. President, there are only 2. During the time that we were going back and forth to different hospitals in Metro Manila, there are only 2 developmental pediatricians, namely Dr. Dimalanta and Dr. Reyes, Mr. President. So I'm glad to actually find out that there are 109. I don't know if this is a correct figure, Mr. President. Is that correct, Your Honor, distinguished sponsor?
Mr. President, the good gentleman from Bulacan has demonstrated another reason that the bill is important. Pati yung database po, hindi pin down talaga. Kung dalawa lang, and so named by the good gentleman, or talagang 109. Kahit pa nga po umabot na tayo sa 109, napakaliit po ng proportion sa 117 million Filipinos, Mr. President.
Exactly, Mr. President. And if you look at the data that we have encountered, the 100 in the total 109 developmental pediatricians, 70+% are actually in Metro Manila. And so tama po kayo, Ginoong Pangulo, napakahalaga nitong panukalang batas na ito. But at the same time, let me also put into the record, Mr. President, na mahirap, hindi madali yung diagnosis. Especially, and I'm glad that to see Section 6, yung early detection, screening, and the diagnosis, Mr. President. But if you have a child undergoing diagnosis, Mr. President, I know that the good sponsor would agree with this representation. It will take you at least 1 year, Mr. President, at least 1 year to be diagnosed and say that a particular child is actually under the spectrum. Unfortunately, Mr. President, when I made mention about the 2 developmental pediatricians, in order for you to get an appointment with them, it will take you 1 year, Mr. President, to get an appointment alone. And hindi pa ho ito nagagawa yung diagnosis sa isang session, hindi naman po kaagad ma-determine na ang isang bata ay nandoon sa spectrum ng autism. So, Mr. President, I'm just wondering if we have a data right now, Mr. President, kung ilan na yung na-diagnose at kung meron din pong data. Kasi this, as I mentioned, this is kind of personal to me. Meron po bang data na ilan yung na-diagnose, ilan yung hindi na-diagnose, Mr. President?
But before you answer, did we get it right? The actual number is 109?
Actually, Mr. President, it's impossible to confirm that we actually have that many.
That many, yeah.
109 is actually too few for 117 million Filipinos.
What is
But
the
since-
what is the ideal ratio?
Okay. Ideally, Mr. President, it should be within the universal healthcare framework. It should be 1:100,000. Pero
Layo,
of various specializations, Mr. President. But proportional, I guess, dun sa alam din nating ratio ng 1 out of that on the average, 1 out of 1 million Filipinos or citizens of any country could possibly be on the ASD spectrum, Mr. President.
Yeah,
That's-
so go ahead and answer the original,
So we
the
are
latter
pulling
question.
up the, yes, Mr. President, I'm just pulling up my data from the earlier, as of our latest data, Mr. President, there are only 95,000 who have been diagnosed. Opo, and it might be a case of under-reporting or under-diagnosis dahil nga kulang pa ng up to this point in time isang comprehensive program ng DOH to assist families and parents to diagnose and to choose whether or not to intervene.
Thank you for that, Mr. President. You see,
And what level?
yes, that's what I'm about to
Oh,
ask,
hindi
Mr.
ba,
President.
hindi lang basta the number, also
And
the
you're
level.
only talking, Mr. President, of 90,000, while 95,000, while the numbers don't lie that there are about 1.2, 1.4 million, Mr. President, under this spectrum. We don't know the numbers, Mr. President. That's why this is very important. And the thing that I'd like to raise right now, Mr. President, is to at least figure out how to actually detect and diagnose, Mr. President, yung mga bata na hindi nadadiagnose. I'm not even asking, Mr. President, yung improperly diagnosed, Mr. President. Sinabing hindi nasa spectrum pero nasa spectrum pala. I'm sure we don't have that figures right now unless...
We don't have the complete figures, Mr. President, but a little more detail that I could make of record with the good gentleman from Bulacan. Sa rehistro at yung mga na-issuehan ng ID, and na-issue ng ID, ilang porsyento lang kaya yun, mula 2021 hanggang 2025, may kabuoang bilang ng 98,245 ang nasa ASD spectrum. So yun lamang yung exact figure that we have as of the end of last year, Mr. President. At malamang talaga underreported or underdiagnosed itong bilang na ito, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Mr. President. I'll go to my amendments, Mr. President, and I just wanted to put this on record so that when our friends from DOH and the different agencies of the government will look into this particular measure for our IRR, they would find out why we are debating or discussing these very important issues, Mr. President. Mr. President, with the indulgence of our dear colleague, may I introduce on page 3 after line 14, insert a new section, section 7, to read as follows. Section 7, ASD professionals and specialists to ensure the effective implementation of this act and the delivery of timely, appropriate, and quality healthcare services for persons with ASD. The DOH, in coordination with the CHED, NCDA, CSC, PRC, and other concerned agencies, shall develop and implement a strategic plan to ensure the adequate number, competency, and equitable distribution of developmental pediatricians, developmental psychologists, child neurologists, speech and language pathologists, occupational therapists, and other qualified health professionals and specialists as may be identified by the DOH nationwide. The DOH and CHED shall closely coordinate and effectively implement measures to strengthen education, training, certification, recruitment, and retention programs to address workforce gaps and ensure accessible ASD-related services across all regions. And we will move also to renumber the subsequent sections accordingly if our good sponsor would agree to this representation.
What does the sponsor say?
Accepted.
Before that,
Yes, Mr. President.
Senator Pia Cayetano is raising her hand. What is the pleasure of Senator Cayetano?
Thank you, Mr. President. With the indulgence of my two colleagues, I am totally supportive of the amendment being proposed by the senator from Bulacan. I may not have caught the exact wording, but may we confirm from both the sponsor and the proponent if we know for a fact that it is CHED who is in charge when we're already talking about specializations and subspecialties, because from what this representation knows, that is no longer the ambit of CHED. And or if it is, they rely heavily on the professional association. So we might be now giving CHED a new job. A quick search tells me that it is not. It is no longer part of their mandate. So can we just check that? Because I fully support that somebody should be in charge. This representation, along with the presiding officer, the Senate President, and the proponent, Senator Joel, are the main supporters of the the growth of the medical colleges in this university. So we are one in our goal. But we just want, and maybe that's part of the problem because no one is taking the lead. Nagsusupport nga tayo ng more doctors in medical school, pero itong mga specializations, baka medyo kulang sa direksyon. So 100% in support of this amendment, but let's be clear kung whose job it is, who determines the numbers. Maybe it's even more DOH. And then maybe CHED will be working with the professional organizations. I don't know exactly, but I'd like our honors here to consider this input. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And if I may, Mr. President, in the amendment that we are introducing, the good gentle lady from Taguig and Patera, Senator Cayetano, is correct that when you talk about the curriculum, Mr. President, it's under the Commission on Higher Education. And in this particular case, we wanted to include the PRC so that they would come in and ensure that they're regulating the professional regulation commission would be regulating these associations, this or professional organization, Mr. President. And the last but not the least, Mr. President, the main point that we are trying to drive at, Mr. President, is the fact that there are so very few developmental pediatricians na sila pa po, Mr. President, tanging sila lang ang makakapag-pinpoint at magsasabi that a child is in the spectrum. Pero may mga ilan po na po pwede silang itap as being overseen, may oversight function naman ng DOH, na maaari, Mr. President, na may mga ilan po na professionals that they can actually pinpoint, Mr. President, that a certain child is in the spectrum, Mr. President. And that's just what we wanted to accomplish. Not, Mr. President, in any way na mag-overlap, Mr. President, or pakikialaman natin yung developmental pediatricians when it comes to treatment, Mr. President. So it's just the identification, Mr. President, and screening, Mr. President, that a child is actually in the spectrum, Mr. President. I submit, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Yes, Senator Ontiveros, this sponsor.
in relation to the point raised by Senator Pia Cayetano, the good proponent may wish to consider this as an amendment to his amendment. That on that fifth line, coordination with the CHED, NCDA, CSC, PRC, the good gentleman from Bulacan may wish to consider also to include the Jose Reyes Memorial Medical Center as a national specialty center for the consideration of the proponent.
Yes, Mr. President, we fully support that, Mr. President. So.
Senator Cayetano, you are originally concerned about the inclusion of CHED. So what is your
Yes.
pleasure?
No, so can we be clarified now what is the role of CHED? Because currently CHED is only in charge of the curriculum of
Yes.
basic medical education. So
Yes.
is his honor is not trying to amend that?
No, we're not.
That's why I
We're
said,
not.
can we see the whole, so
Yeah.
we can also help craft the proper language? Who will be in charge? Was there a mention of the?
It will just be, Mr. President, in coordination with CHED because they are the ones in charge of the medical curriculum, Mr. President.
All right. And the idea being mentioned by the
Yes.
sponsor also, well, yes, but isn't it not very clear when we say healthcare services with persons with ASD, the DOH in coordination with
Ched.
yung binabanggit yung hospital, under the DOH yun eh. So
Yes,
when
that
we
is
say the
correct.
DOH, it's encompassing of everything under the Department of Health.
That is correct, Mr. President. But I offered it as a proposed amendment to the amendment of the proponent dahil po ang JRMMC ay isang National Specialty Center na in charge din sa training nung mga medical professionals and specialists, including developmental pediatricians, Mr. President. Just for the consideration of the good proponent.
I don't mind, Mr.
We'll leave it
President.
to the proponent.
I don't mind, Mr. President.
You will accept that.
Of course,
But
Mr.
let us
President.
wait for the proposal of Senator Cayetano because that was ahead. Senator Pia Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a long provision, no? So thank you for the copy. I'm okay with it, Mr. President, because basically it's a very general statement that DOH shall develop and implement a strategic plan. So DOH can still work with all of these
Yes.
other agencies. But I heard that His Honor, or is it Her Honor, that mentioned PRC, because PRC should be involved. Is that the latest amendment?
It is part of this amendment. The
Okay, so there's a
Professional
PRC.
Regulatory Commission.
And then finally, the medical societies, because it is actually the medical societies who make the curriculum. Apparently, they because they make the curriculum and then they're the ones who work with PRC, I believe, in the exam. So the accreditation also comes from them. So I think you have to mention the medical society, the appropriate medical society. In this case, it is the pediatric society, but the developmental pediatrics is a sub-society of the pediatric society. So they have a formal name. You can just look it up. It's easy to find. Pediatric. Anyway, they have an official name. We might as well name them because they're the official. They're the official organization for this specialization.
I think it's Philippine Society
Philippine
for
Pediatric
Developmental
Society.
and Behavioral Pediatrician.
Yeah. But I suggest that you include their mother society because lahat nung kailangan na professionals ng isang autistic child would fall under pediatrics pa rin. So pediatrics, the Philippine Pediatrics Society, I think that's their name, and that subspecialization, subject to style. That's my recommendation, Mr. President.
Mr.
Philippine
President,
Pediatric Society.
if
Yes,
I may-
Senator Tiberos.
If I may offer a formulation to the gentlewoman from Taguigan Pateros and the proponent, they may wish to consider the wording professional organizations specializing in neurodevelopment disorders.
That's okay.
Professional organizations specializing in neurodevelopmental disorders, Mr. President.
I'm okay with that.
Professional organizations.
Para mas general.
Well, it becomes inclusive of almost everybody involved in the medical society. If you're accepting that, I just want to know where you want to place it. After CHED or after PRC?
After PRC, siguro.
Before other concerned agencies?
Yes, Mr. President. I think.
Huh? So after PRC?
Yes.
And you're accepting the amendment
I am,
proposed by
Mr. President.
Senator Hontiveros to your amendment that was initiated by Senator Pia Cayetano.
Accepted, Mr. President.
Accepted?
Wholeheartedly.
One more, Senator Pia Cayetano. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. We note that the mention of PRC is in the first part of Section 7, but the second in His Honor's amendment, but the last sentence, the second part of Section 7, states the DOH and CHED shall closely coordinate and effectively implement measures. We believe that PRC should also be here in this enumeration, DOH and CHED in coordination with PRC. So that is my amendment, Mr. President. Because to take note that what is being mentioned here is the effective implementation of education, training,
Yes.
certification.
Yes.
Wait. Let's take this one by one.
But it's one amendment, Mr. President, so I have to mention it here.
Yes, I know. But let us finish off the first amendment. Will you be acceptable to that proposal?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay na, yung original, no?
Yes.
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 Mr.
After, what's
After
that?
the PRC, Mr. President.
After PRC. All right. So let's deal with that. Any objection? Adopted. But we continue with the amendment because Senator Pia Cayetano, what line?
Ano bang? Wala pa yatang line to, Mr.
Last
President. It's
sentence.
an amendment.
Last sentence.
The last sentence
Which?
that starts with the DOH and
DOH.
CHED.
Uh-huh.
So I think I will phrase my amendment this way. After the word CHED, insert the phrase in coordination with PRC.
Uh-huh. In coordination with PRC.
Or PRC.
All right.
The
What does
DOH.
the proponent of the amendment say?
Subject to style, yes, Mr.
Subject to
President.
style. What does the sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted. But in total, subject to style.
Yes.
You move to
Yes.
amend.
Yes, Mr. President. I so move, Mr. President.
All right. As amended, subject to style. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Yes,
You-
Mr. President.
you may proceed.
Last but not the least, Mr. President. And again, this is very fruitful, Mr. President, as our friends from the different government agencies will look into this matter. In Section 7, now renumbered as Section 8 on health and intervention services, may we introduce, Mr. President, on page 3, delete lines 15 to 19 and replace it with the following paragraph. Health and intervention services. The DOH, in coordination with the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, PhilHealth, and other concerned agencies, shall ensure adequate and equitable coverage and the progressive availability and accessibility of evidence-based assessment, diagnostic, and intervention services for ASD in public health facilities, establish functional and integrated referral networks across all levels of care, and align service delivery with existing health systems to promote continuity, quality, and affordability of care. I submit, Mr. President.
What does the sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted. Approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. And just to put on record, Mr. President, we wanted to make sure na may periodic review po yung pong assessment ng ating PhilHealth dun po sa mga benepisyong binibigay sa kanila. Mr. President, for the record, yung pong Z benefits package ng PhilHealth, last 2017 pa po ito, Mr. President, at doon po sa nakapaloob na Z benefit package, therapy and assessment lang po yung nakalagay dito. I hope na magawan po natin ang paraan. Nakikiusap po ang isa sa mga magulang ng mga na pasok po dito sa autism spectrum, Mr. President. In fact, Mr. President, if you think about it, Senator Pia and I are talking about it a while ago, kung kasama ba talaga sa Z benefits package ng PhilHealth itong mga kababayan po natin na nasa autism spectrum. And ang sagot naman po ay kasama po. But let me also put that on record, and the good sponsor, Senator Ontiveros, is nodding her head. Nakasama po talaga, Mr. President. But unfortunately, Mr. President, napakababa po ng coverage nito, Mr. President. If I'm not mistaken, sa isang therapy, for example, occupational therapy, hanggang 3,000 to 5,000 lang po ang coverage, Mr. President. Imagine nyo, Mr. President, yung therapy na kailangan ng isang bata ay Panghabang buhay po yan, Mr. President. It's really not easy, Mr. President. At napakahalaga po na ang PhilHealth ay maging proactive dito sa mga bagay na ito at ma-provide po nila ng ASD services under the Z Benefits Package itong mga kababayan natin na tinatayang 1 out of 100 Filipino, Mr. President. Yun ho yung ilan sa mga articles na na-encounter natin. Maraming salamat,
And
Ginoong
Mr.
Pangulo, at muli sa ating distinguished sponsor.
Salamat
All
din, good gentleman from Bulacan. Just to make of record also, the value ng PhilHealth benefit package para sa mga persons with autism or nasa autism spectrum disorder is actually at 7,500 pesos.
I'm sorry, how much?
Napakababa rin, 7,500 lang po. At talagang it's dwarfed by, naalala ko yung statistic na ibinigay nung interpellation ni Senator JV Ejercito na maaring umabot sa 100,000, no, ang kabuuang gastos sa isang buong taon. So what's 7.5 compared to that, Mr. President? Kailangan
Maraming
talaga
salamat po,
itaas.
Ginoong Pangulo. Maraming salamat.
All right, but I understand that you have a proposed amendment to this effect.
Yes, Mr. President, it's actually the next one.
You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. In a new Section 9, PhilHealth coverage and benefit package for persons with autism spectrum disorder. This is consolidating and harmonizing proposed amendments from Senators Lauren Legarda, Sherwin Gatchalian, Joel Villanueva, and this representation. On page 3, after line 19, insert a new Section 9 that reads as follows. Section 9, PhilHealth coverage and benefit packages. Persons with autism spectrum disorder, in parentheses ASD, shall be recognized as persons with disability for purposes of access to benefits and privileges under existing laws, including Republic Act number 11-22-8 and other applicable statutes. The DOH, the NCDA, PhilHealth, and the LGUs shall establish and implement mechanisms to facilitate the registration of persons with ASD in the DOH Philippine Registry of Persons with Disability, in parentheses PRPWD, and ensure the timely issuance of disability identification cards subject to existing rules and safeguards. PhilHealth, in coordination with the DOH and the NCDA, shall develop, enhance, and periodically review benefit packages responsive to ASD-related health, rehabilitation, habilitation, and intervention needs, including appropriate inpatient and outpatient coverage, consistent with Republic Act number 11-22-3 or the Universal Healthcare Act. Pending such development or enhancement, persons with ASD shall continue to avail of existing PhilHealth benefits and packages and renumber the subsequent sections accordingly. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the amendment is approved and adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. In Section 8, renumbered as Section 10, Inclusive and Appropriate Education, from Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. On page 3, line 24, after the word support, insert the word AIDS. I so move, Mr. President.
And learning support aids.
AIDS,
Learning
Mr.
support
President.
aids.
Yes,
It's
Mr.
part of the phrase.
Yes, Mr.
All right,
President.
any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. In Section 9, renumbered as Section 11, Employment and Livelihood, from this representation. On page 3, line 30, after the words disability laws, insert comma and the phrase, including the promotion of reasonable accommodations for neurodivergent individuals in the workplace, consistent with prevailing labor, disability, and occupational health standards. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor at this point to the good gentleman from Pampanga and Tarlac to propose his amendments, Mr. President.
Senator Dante Marcoleta is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, Section 12 of the proposed measure provides for the prohibited acts, which reads as follows. Section 12 prohibited acts. It shall be unlawful for any person, entity, or government agency to discriminate against, deny, or impede the rights of persons with ASD, including but not limited to their rights to dignity, health care, inclusive education, employment, livelihood, social protection, and participation in decisions affecting their welfare. However, Mr. President, there is no penal provision included in the proposed bill. So I wish that we could propose the following penal clause, Mr. President. On page 4, between lines 14 and 15, insert a new section 13 to provide for the penal clause to read as follows. Section 13, penal clause. A, any person who violates any prohibited acts mentioned under Section 12 of this Act shall suffer the following penalties. 1, for the first violation, a fine of not less than 50,000 pesos, but not exceeding 100,000 pesos, or imprisonment of not less than 6 months, but not more than 2 years, or both at the discretion of the court. And 2, for any subject violation, a fine of not less, or for any subsequent violation, a fine of not less than 100,000 pesos, but not exceeding 200,000 pesos, or imprisonment for less than 2 years, but not more than 6 years, or both at the discretion of the court. B, if the violator is a government official or employee, he or she shall be administratively liable in addition to fine or imprisonment. C, if the violator is a corporation, organization, or any similar entity, the officials thereof directly involved shall be liable therefore. D, if the violator is an alien or a foreigner, he shall be deported immediately after service of sentence without further deportation proceedings. Mr. President, the proposed penal provision is in line with those specified under Republic Act number 7277 or the Magna Carta for Disabled Persons. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, will the proponent make the motion?
I move, Mr. President, that the proposed penal clause be added or be an amendatory provision of the proposed bill, Mr. President.
Accepted,
What
Mr.
does the
President.
sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Are you sure?
I'm sure, Mr.
We have
President.
1 minute suspension.
Parang ayaw pa ni parang ayaw pumayag ni ano ba 'yan? Parang ayaw pumayag ni Soto dun sa sa ni Marcoleta. Payag ka? Oh, are you sure mapayag ka? Oh, ayaw pumayag sa recommendation eh. Sabi ganun, what is your recommendation? Oh. Oh, payag daw siya, payag. Tapos ayaw ni ayaw. Ulitin nga natin.
This. 1, for the first violation, a fine of not less than 50,000 pesos, but not exceeding 100,000 pesos, or imprisonment of not less than 6 months, but not more than 2 years, or both at the discretion of the court. And 2, for any subject violation, a fine of not less, or for any subsequent violation, a fine of not less than 100,000 pesos, but not exceeding 200,000 pesos, or imprisonment for less than 2 years, but not more than 6 years, or both at the discretion of the court. B, if the violator is a government official or employee, he or she shall be administratively liable in addition to fine or imprisonment. C, if the violator is a corporation, organization, or any similar entity, the officials thereof directly involved shall be liable therefore. D, If the violator is an alien or a foreigner, he shall be deported immediately after service of sentence without further deportation proceedings. Mr. President, the proposed penal provision is in line with those specified under Republic Act number 77 or the Magna Carta for disabled persons. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, will the proponent make the motion?
I move, Mr. President, that the proposed penal clause be added or be an amendatory provision of the proposed bill, Mr. President.
Accepted,
What
Mr.
does the
President.
sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Are you sure?
I'm sure, Mr.
We have
President.
1 minute suspension.
Buang to si Soto, no? Buang talaga eh, no? Buang eh, no? Alam nyo, kaysa ano mga pinagagawa ka, dapat kayo ng urgency bill. Diba? Dapat magkaroon kayo ng emergency bill dyan eh. Ano tawag dito? Dapat may resolution kagad, dapat may nag-submit kagad ng, may ano, pwede naman, sino kaya pwede mag-privilege speech, no? Mag-privilege speech para sa pag-usapan naman nila yung nangyayaring gulo dito sa Middle East. Isaalang-alang nila yung mga OFW, yung mga kababayan natin na naiipit sa gulo diyan sa Middle East, di ba? Wala man lang nag-file ng resolution o nag-file ng ano ba tawag doon? 'Di ba? Baka yariin ni Senator Marcoleta yan si Soto. 'Di ba wala man lang nag-file ng Senate bill o kaya nag-file ng resolution para sa mga OFW. Ano ba tong putang ng tong Senado na ito, no? Diba? Hindi kagaya dati ni Tatay Digong eh. Diba? Sa bagay, trabaho na rin ng executive yan eh. Meron naman tayong batas para dyan eh. Kaya lang ang problema, parang hindi kumikilos yung gobyerno. Diyan naman sa House, busy naman sa impeachment. Oo, diba? Tangina talaga mga tao na ito. Ewan ko sa kanila. Ay nako. Quick response kay PRRD. Kaya nga, si PRRD, puta, magpapadala kagad ng C-130 yan, no? Kaya, yung airline, ipapadala kagad. Yan ang ginagawa ni Tigong. Di ba, nung nangyari, siningil niya tawag nito, sino yun? Yung may-ari ng Philippine Airline, ang laki ng utang na bayad sa tax, hindi nagbabayad, di ba? Si Lucio Tan. Si Lucio Tan. Ang ginawa niya, putang, sige, bayad ka. Yung putang ina ka, para hindi na kita singilin, limasin mo yung Pilipino doon sa na mga OFW. Kailangan, libre lahat. Di ba? Ganun na nangyari no, mga panahon na yun eh. Ito nga, hindi si Ang, si Lucio Tan. Si Lucio Tan yung may-ari ng Philippine Airline. Anak ng tutsang talaga, oo. Ay nako. Mamaya magla-live tayo alas 7 pag-usapan natin si Boying Rimulya, putang na, umamin na nakipagtulungan siya sa ICC. Kaya lang itinatanggi yung maleta. Mamaya pag-uusapan natin yan Ang nilimas na din naman ibibigyan makabayan ng bayan. Tangina, mangungutang na nga di ba? May bago tayong mga admiral ngayon admiral na si putang na ito si Ralph Recto at saka si Erwin Tulfo Pumunta siya sa ICC. Hindi si Boying hindi naman nakipag-meeting. Nakipag-meeting pero tinatanggi niya na Sinabi nakipag-meeting daw para do sa mga witness. Di ba? Ang tagal naman ito, pinagdidebatehan pa yata nila, putang ina niyan.
Aspect of
Ito na.
penal clause that is being proposed for amendment, Mr. President.
And retain the fines that
Yes,
you
Mr.
Marcoleta to restate the proposed amendment subject to the amendment being proposed by the sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the basis of our discussion, this representation is of the opinion that we should remove the imprisonment aspect, just the civil aspect of the penal clause that is being proposed for amendment, Mr. President.
And retain the fines that
Yes,
you have
Mr.
proposed.
President. Yes.
All right. Subject to style. What does the sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President, with thanks
Accepted.
to the senator. From
Thank you, Senator.
Bulacan.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted. Amendments approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And lastly, in Section 14, renumbered as Section 16, implementing rules and regulations from this representation. On page 4, line 26, after the word civil society organizations, comma, insert the words professional organizations specializing in neurodevelopment disorders to read as follows. Section 16, implementing rules and regulations. Within 90, in parentheses, numerals 90 days from the effectivity of this act, the NCDA, in consultation with the DOH, JRRMMC, PhilHealth, DepEd, CHED, TESDA, DOLE, CSC, DSWD, LGUs, other concerned government agencies, civil society organizations, professional organizations specializing in neurodevelopment disorders, autism self-advocates, parents groups, and other stakeholders shall promulgate the implementing rules and regulations. I so move, Mr. President.
I seldom do this, but I think you should. Well, if you believe that this will be strong enough, my experience is oras na nag-IRR tayo at hindi natin specify dito, pinakikialaman eh. Nung mga mag-IRR eh.
I submit to the advice of the good Senate President.
Yes, I think we should not mention it if you don't mind.
I believe, Mr. President.
I've seen it. I've seen it in many laws that we have, many bills that we have passed that become into law. Sometimes we could not effectively implement the law because the IRR is not finished.
Not
Meron pa
released
taon eh.
or contrary to what is embodied in the law,
Correct.
Mr. President.
Correct. Sometimes.
So maybe we can take out if with the permission of the good sponsor, maybe we can just take out the provision which mentions the IRR.
Yes, Mr. President, I'm willing to not move
Please.
to
Yes,
propose this
and
amendment.
the best
Mr.
thing is
President.
for the Committee on Health to exercise oversight over this particular bill. That will be
That is a
better
good,
than an
that is a
IRR.
good amendment, Mr. President.
We'll
Oo,
do
that
so,
will
Mr.
be-
President.
All right. Thank
No
you.
more,
Thank you then.
No further amendments, Mr.
No
President.
further amendments, Majority Leader. I think it will be ideal for us to have a clean copy before we approve on second reading.
I'll just move
Because
to
of the
close,
many-
Mr. President, I'd move to close the period of amendments. If
Yes. All
the
right.
body will agree. Mr. President, with the permission of the body, I move to close the period of amendments.
Any objection? Hearing none. Period of amendments closed.
Thank you, Mr. President. We move to suspend consideration of the measure and wait for the clean copy of the bill.
All right. Hearing no objection, the consideration of 1822 is suspended.
We also like
Thank you,
to
Mr.
make,
President.
with the permission of the author, Senator Marcoleta would like to also be made co-author of the measure, Mr. President. So for the record,
Senator Marcoleta is
Yes, Mr. President.
made a co-author of the measure.
thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Thank you. It's now suspended. Therefore, we move to the next item of the agenda, Mr. President. I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1744 under Committee Report number 26. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none. 1744. Consideration is in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we recognize our distinguished colleague, Senator Joel Villanueva, to sponsor
Senator Joel
and
Villanueva,
propose
the
amendments.
sponsor of the measure, is recognized.
Mr. President, Majority Leader, Mr. President, we are ready to receive individual amendments from our dear colleagues, Mr. President, and I think, Your Honor, the distinguished Senate President would like to introduce an amendment, Mr. President.
Session is suspended. The President pro tem is asked to ascend to the rostrum.